Hi, Jamie Utt here from Civil Schools, building bullying-free culture. And over the years, I've had the opportunity to work with some pretty phenomenal communities all over the United States.
From Florida to Washington to New York to Colorado to Minnesota, Iowa, and Illinois.
But I've got to admit that when I got the invitation from student Claire Neugebauer to work with Columbine High School in Littleton, Colorado, I was a little bit nervous. My mind immediately went back to when I first learned about the tragedy that happened there in 1999. I was in school, and I remember when our teachers told us about it, just this terror kind of went down my spine. And honestly, when I thought about what I might say to them, I felt inadequate. I mean, what could I say to this community that would be relevant and important? What do I say to a community that's been defined by such tragedy? So I started going through all of the content that I've developed over the years and that I've used with other schools, and I came up with an assembly that I'm pretty proud of, and I also came up with some really good content for engaging students in their classes about how they can take an active role in improving their school environment. Now, whenever I talk to students, I start by trying to get to know them and their community a little bit, trying to understand what issues are facing them. What things need to be tackled to make sure that every single member of the community feels safe and included and like they can fully express themselves. And because of my preconceived notions of what Columbine would probably be like, I thought this would be a pretty good approach. But what I found upon arriving at Columbine was not at all what I expected. First and foremost, I had the opportunity to meet this guy. This is Frank DeAngelis, or Mr. D as everyone at Columbine calls him, and he's the principal. Let me tell you, I have met a lot of principals in my day, and I don't think I've ever met one that is so beloved by the staff and students of the school, which I think says a lot about the job that he's doing there. Mr. D's been at Columbine a long time, and when he became principal after the tragedy, he did something that few principals would have the courage to do. He chose to prioritize culture and climate above all else, believing that if every single student who walked through that door felt safe, welcome, included, and supported, that they would learn and achieve better. Now, Mr. D didn't do this alone. This effort's been made by the staff with more than 30 teachers who've been there since before the tragedy. And this effort's been made by parents, and this effort's been made by students. It's a whole community effort. And it works! Throughout the day, I had the chance to talk to students in their classes, and I asked them the same question that I ask students at every school that I go to. What things are most troubling to you about the culture and climate of your school? What would you like to see change to make sure that you feel safer and more included? Now, usually what I hear is that people are sick and tired of name-calling or bullying, or that people are just really disrespectful all the time, or maybe that teachers are sometimes really mean to students, those kinds of things. That's what I'm used to hearing. But at Columbine, what I heard was, I wish students would show up to more athletic events. Sometimes students subtweet about each other and it kind of starts drama. Nothing really. I really like it here. I honestly had a hard time finding students who would talk crap about their school. That has never happened to me. I stress, I have worked with all kinds of amazing schools, and I have never heard students talk so positively about the place where they spend their days. It was honestly really inspiring. After all, I get to talk to students all over the United States about the hurts that they're carrying and the troubles that they're having. And this is not to say that the students at Columbine aren't carrying hurts and troubles. I mean, I'm sure that many of them are, but I think what this speaks to is what can happen when we choose to invest in our school culture and climate, when we choose to focus on a student-centered approach that values the growth of the entire student, that values the diversity of the community, and puts the growth of that individual student before their growth in their test scores. Columbine is honestly really special. So after I'd spent some time with the students, I took some time to go to the memorial to the lives lost in that senseless tragedy that occurred in this community. And the memorial's a little ways off campus, and when I got there, I was immediately overcome. I couldn't help but cry at seeing this really, truly beautiful memorial that has the words of the students inscribed into the walls and memorials to each of the people who were lost that day in 1999. And it's a really beautiful place. It's tremendously touching to spend some time in that outdoor memorial. And then I came to this quote from a student. And it hit me. Before I came to Columbine, I saw this as a place that's defined by tragedy. But Columbine didn't let tragedy define them. Instead, they created a place where students are excited to be there, where students are supported in their interests, no matter what those interests may be, where students can more fully express who they are and their identity. And that's an incredible thing to see. What defines the Columbine community is unity in its diversity. After I delivered a keynote for the entire community, the principal brought up Mr. Ivory Moore. They have a tradition at Columbine where they end whole school events by bringing up this social studies teacher and coach who's been at Columbine for a long time. The entire student body got to their feet, and with incredible passion, Mr. Moore screamed, "We are!" And the entire community erupted in Columbine! By the second or third chant, I couldn't help it. Overcome with goosebumps, I was there with everyone shouting, "Columbine."